Hey guys, am I on? Finally, had trouble getting on here. I don't know what was going on. Welcome. Glad you guys are here. Hey, my name is Kirk Ryder. I'm the founder of Yoga Vidika. I just want to welcome you personally for being here. So glad you're here. And man, it almost looked like this wasn't going to happen on YouTube today. I was getting a little bit nervous. So anyway, glad it worked out. Glad you guys are all here. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. Just some of you guys may not be too familiar with me, and some of you may have heard this story so many times you're tired of hearing it. But I'm going to tell it anyway because it's important. It's an important part of who I am, and it's an important part of the mission that I carry for Yoga Vidika Transformational Coaching Strategies. But I'm in recovery from drug addiction. I went into treatment January 16th, 2014. And I had been a functioning addict for 28 years. And then for about 2.5, I was completely full blown total addict. Just destroyed everything. And so, but anyway, during that time, I was 10 when I got started. I was 38 when my addiction finally took complete control of my life and I went off the rails and went crazy. And then I was 40 and a half when I got clean. And I'm 48 now. So, and I don't mind you knowing that. But anyway, I'd fallen in love with yoga well over 20 years ago. It was back in the mid 90s. And of course, when I really got heavily into drug usage, only drug usage was important to me. Any of you know who know anything about addiction know that. But then as I got clean, I went back to yoga again because I knew what yoga could do and I wanted more of it. So I went back to yoga. And I also knew there was a lot more to yoga, that I had only scratched the surface of what really was there, what yoga really was, as far as the teachings, the philosophy, the understanding. I knew that there was so much more underneath what I had already studied. So I got really heavily into it again. Well, as I got clean, I went into treatment on January 16th, 2014. I had gotten loaded that day because I wanted to stop more than I wanted my next breath, but I didn't know how to stop. So I was loaded when I went in. So the next day, January 17th, is my clean date. January 17th, 2014. No mood or mind altering substances since then. That means I don't drink alcohol. I don't do anything. I don't want it. Okay. I mean, I do things every day to maintain my recovery, to make me stay at that place where I don't want it. Have no need for it, have no desire for it. Just has nothing to do with my life. I don't judge other people for it, especially people who like to, drink it as a beverage. Yeah, no problem. Me, though, I can't drink a glass of wine or a beer as a beverage. That doesn't happen. I go off the rails. So, um, where was I? So anyway, I went back to yoga, and then as I started studying the 12 steps, because I got involved with the 12-step group and still heavily involved, still work the 12 steps. But as I got involved with the 12 steps, I started to realize how much I loved personal development. I mean, I totally became enamored with personal development, or personal transformation is a word I like to use. Transformation meaning it goes even deeper than that, because that's exactly where I'm trying to go. And that's where I'm trying to teach all my clients to go, is not development, but transformation. A butterfly transforms, a caterpillar develops. So that's how I look at it. I fell in love with it. I mean, in a crass sort of way, you could say I traded one addiction for another, but that's what I did. I mean, I just went all in and I dove deep. And I started learning that science and yoga go completely hand in glove. Uh, One backs the other one up so profoundly. I was completely just at a loss when I began to realize when I came to this realization. Yoga, the teachings that have been around for 6, 8, 10,000 years are now being validated by science. And not only is science saying, yeah, they're exactly right, science is even giving us the how and why behind it. This is how it works. This is what's going on in your brain when you do that, or this is what's going on in your heart or in the very cells of your body when you practice these principles, when you practice these philosophies, when you do the things that yoga is teaching. Science is now telling us specifically, this is what's taking place within you. And I was fascinated with that. So, I basically what I'm trying to say is I spent the last 8 years just studying. I became a scholar of the concept of self-development, self-transformation, especially when it comes to yoga in current scientific knowledge, technology. I wanted to know exactly how those two fit because it just fascinated me from the beginning. So I started studying them. May of this year, I came to realize somebody may as well dropped a ton of bricks on my head and told me, you need to disseminate this information to the public. Everyone needs to know what you're studying and what you're learning. Now, granted, there are some people out there who are teaching it, sure, and they're doing a fantastic job. I love them. In fact, I try to emulate them because of what they're teaching and how they're doing it and how they're getting to people. I'm trying to emulate them because they're doing such a great job. But there's just not enough. There's not enough people out there disseminating this information. It needs to be told to everyone. So that's kind of where I was. And I thought, okay, and I came up with Yoga Vitica. Vitica means path. So the yoga path of transformation is essentially where I wanted to go with the title of my business, the yogic path of transformation. And so I came up with Yoga Vitica, transformational coaching strategies. And I still wasn't sure. I was like, what's next? What am I doing next? What is this going to look like when it's all said and done? I had no idea, but I did know that there was the next step that I could take. So I took that step and I kept taking it. And then finally another step showed up and I took that step, and then I took it again and I took it again until finally some things came together and started making sense to me. And I came up with what I call the magnetic heart formula. And the magnetic heart formula is essentially a condensation of everything I've been learning over the last 8 years. Take away all the stuff that didn't move the needle, put in all the stuff that did, and let's put it into a digital product where I can get it out there to people. It's not ready yet, but it will be very soon. That's why I'm talking about it now, because it's almost ready. So eventually when it's ready, I'm going to be promoting it because I want everyone to know about this, because again, this is information I think the world needs to know. So once it's ready, I'm going to be putting it out there. In the meantime, I'm doing personal coaching, helping people one-on-one. Of course, we're usually online, but helping people one-on-one, at them and me together as a team, working together. How are we going to solve certain issues in their life, guiding them in how they're going to solve certain issues in their life, and then giving them the motivation, the encouragement, and just the courage to do it. My whole thing is I want to help men step into their greatness without fear or procrastination. And yes, I said men. There's enough things out there for women. We men, we need something that's going to show us how to step into our greatness, how to be strong leaders, how to take decisive action, how to take relevant action on those decisions. That's just what, honestly, I just don't think we have enough guys who are out there doing it. I don't think we have enough husbands and fathers who are out there doing it. I never had that growing up. I try to be that for my kids today, and I want to show other men how they can do that. So how to step into their greatness without fear, without procrastination, with the magnetic heart formula, and just be who they were born to be. So anyway, let's get started in what we're going on today. Today, what I want to discuss is I want to discuss our personal energy fields. Some of you know this, some of you may not know it, some of you may think this is all science fiction woohoo, but let me tell you, everything I'm going to tell you here today is completely scientific validated. I'm not giving you a bunch of mystical woohoo. I'm not giving you people's opinions or anything like that. I'm not saying that science suggests these things are true. I'm saying science has validated them as law. Law meaning it is fact, okay? The law of gravity, not the theory of gravity, right? Okay, so these are laws that science has validated as truth, as fact. So we do have energy fields. Each human being, in fact, I would go so far as to say every living thing, but we're not going that deep today, so we're just going to stick to humans. Every human being has two energy fields, electromagnetic energy fields. Actually, we have the potential for three, but the third one is related to the pineal gland. And if you know anything about that, you know that that takes months or years of concentrated effort. And in fact, if you don't have the first two healthy and strong and in order anyway, there's no point in even talking about the pineal gland. So we're going to talk about the first two that are the easiest to take care of, to get activated and to strengthen and utilize to our best advantage. And then once these are healthy, strong, and active, then later on you can talk about pineal gland activation and so forth and so on. And let me just say, I've been working on it for a very long time, and I'm at the place where I can get my pineal gland activated, but it doesn't stay activated, which is part of the process. You activate it, but then it closes back off again. Then you have to activate it, and it closes back off again. And I mean, it's not like I can just activate it at will. I still have to put forth some effort, and maybe this time it'll open up. In most cases, I have to do that 2, 3, 4 times before it finally actually opens up. So, but anyway, that's where I am. I can get it activated, but it's not at the place where it stays. So, but that's okay because I have very strong, healthy energy fields, and I love it. I mean, now the third EMF would be icing on the cake, but that's okay. So we have two electromagnetic energy fields. We're going to talk about the first one. The first one comes from the heart. Okay, you're about to understand why I call my program, my digital product that's soon to be released, the Magnetic Heart Program or the Magnetic Heart Formula. Okay, the heart is the first of your two energy fields. It's also, well, it also has the potential of being the most powerful. Okay, the potential of being the most powerful. So, and it's all relative to your emotions. We human beings mostly we pay very little attention to our emotions. We have no idea how powerful our emotions can be. Emotions, whether negative or positive, can be very powerful. Negative emotions can be highly destructive to you and to everyone else. Positive emotions can bring great things into your life. So, depending on your emotions and how strong you're in touch with those emotions, depends on how powerful it actually is, but it has the potential of being the most powerful. The heart does. Now, also understand science also recognizes the heart has its own brain. It has its own brain and it's independent of this big brain right up here. It does everything that our other brain does and it does it on its own. In fact, our heart brain, which is affectionately known as the little brain in the heart, okay? The little brain in the heart communicates with your big brain more than your big brain communicates with your little brain in the heart. Your little brain in the heart does as much as your big brain does, and it's completely independent of the big brain. It can feel emotion just like we can feel it up here. In fact, they've proven that the brain in the heart has precognition. In other words, it can see the future. It can see what's coming next. And we're not talking, who's going to win the horse races tomorrow, but we're talking about you just kind of know when you get those feelings sometimes. You just know, oh man, that that something bad is coming, or something amazing is about to happen, or you just know I better be aware because something's going on and I need to pay attention and I want to make sure that if it's good that I get in on it too. I mean, you just know this sometimes. That's the brain and the heart. That's your heart brain letting you know something is coming, something's about to happen. But anyway, let's talk about this EMF. Okay, this has been discovered by the oh golly, what's the name of it? The Heart Math Institute. The Heart Math Institute was founded in 1991. They exist in California, and they discovered that our heart produces its own EMF field. It's about 5 to 8 feet wide around our body. Let me write what Greg Braden wrote this great book called The Divine Matrix. He's written several great books. I've read more than one of his, but this one I refer to a lot because I love it. But this is The Divine Matrix. It says one of the most significant findings reported by the Heart Math Institute, reported by HeartMath, is a documentation of the donut-shaped field of energy that surrounds the heart and extends around the body. This field of electromagnetic energy exists in a configuration called a torus and is between 5 and 8 feet in diameter. Okay, so it's in the shape of a torus. A torus basically means a donut. All right, so it comes from our heart and it comes back to our heart. It extends outward 5 to 8 feet, depending on how healthy it is and how strong it is. But it comes out, it extends 5 to 8 feet and comes back, and it surrounds our body in a donut shape. We're the hole in the donut. Your body is the hole in the donut. That's that's the electromagnetic field coming from your heart. Now, he also goes on to say that this is not the aura that was described in ancient Sanskrit texts. So, going back to yoga and ancient texts, this is not the aura. This is just kind of a bonus, really. But now let's get into what the aura really is, because this is the other EMF that we give off. Okay, the second one starts at our base chakra. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with chakras or whether you even believe in chakras or whatever, but we're going to get into chakras and what they are and all this kind of stuff. But this is our aura. It starts at the base chakra, which is at the base of our spinal column, right above the perineum. Sits right above the perineum at the base of our spinal column. This is our Muladhara chakra, or the base chakra, or the earth chakra, or whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, it comes up through all the other chakras, out the crown of the head, and it extends about 9 feet wide out around us and completely surrounds our body, again in a torus, or a donut, if you prefer to think that way, and comes back and returns back to our base chakra, our Muladhara chakra. So it starts, okay? It starts like down here. It shoots up your spine, at the crown of your head, and it comes out, and it comes back. Let's just say at the anus, where the Muladhara chakra sits. So that's the shape of it. Now that is your aura, right there. That's the energy that you are giving out. And by the way, we've taken photography. We know that there is an aura. We know that we give off information. Again, this is all scientific knowledge. No one is shocked to hear this, or no one in the scientific community is shocked by any of this information. This is basic scientific knowledge. We give off information or energy. We are bundles of energy, constantly releasing more energy out into the field. Now, see, why is all of this important? Well, you understand these are electromagnetic fields, okay? So everything that we're putting out there into the universe, we're also bringing it back to ourselves. That's one reason why it's important. We're getting back everything that we give away. So if we tend to be, moody, negative, emotional, whatever, we're going to get more of that back. I mean, think about it. Happy people just seem to get happier every day. Miserable people seem to at least stay miserable, if not get even more miserable. I mean, why do you think that is? Happy people stay happy, miserable people stay miserable. I mean, sure, you have your days and your moments, but for the most part, that's just how it is, okay? So you see, when this is flowing in a seamless current up through the chakras, out the crown of the head, we're feeling connection. We're feeling connection to other living beings. We're feeling whole. We're feeling a zest for life. We have confidence. We have joy. We have gratitude. We also have compassion, patience, generosity, all of these things. When these things are all flowing in a seamless current, we feel all those things. We feel really good. We're just happy. And we want to give back. We want to do for others. Okay? Our EMFs, the fields that we send out there, they literally are our emotions. They're also our intentions. We're giving away our emotions. We're giving away and sending out there our intentions, okay? So we're constantly sending out energy, whether it's good or bad. So it might be a good idea to make sure we're sending out some good stuff. I mean, I don't know. But you see, we re-energize from our own field, okay? Our own field is where we get the next field. The field of energy I'm experiencing right now was energized by the field of energy I experienced just a moment ago. Make sense? We're constantly re-energizing our own field. And that's why people tend to have a state of being, like I talked about. Angry people and resentful people stay angry and stay resentful. They may even get worse as time goes on. Joyful people, pleasant people, tend to stay joyful. They tend to stay pleasant. They tend to be the people you want to talk to. And in fact, sometimes they might get even more pleasant as time goes on. Because again, that's what they're sending out, so that's what they're getting back. Understand the law of attraction does not say you get what you want. It does not say you get what you wish. It says you get what you are. Whatever you are right now is what you're going to get more of in the future. Yes, some people put that as being you only get what you're worthy to receive. Meaning, whatever I feel worthy to receive right now is what I'm going to receive. So I want to feel pretty worthy, honestly. Okay, so but these all get these energies can get stuck, especially negative energies, and it's the first three chakras where it can happen. All right, if energy is going to get stuck, it's going to happen in one of the first three chakras. All right, and that's where the energy is not flowing like you want it to be. And that's where your field is going to start to be reduced. And you're going to end up finding yourself feeding on your own field. You're re energizing on your already shrinking field. Okay. So when the first three chakras aren't flowing right, I mean, if there's some kind of guilt, or if there's been some kind of abuse from the past that hasn't been dealt with, it might not even be your fault, but it's got to be dealt with nonetheless. It's got to be faced and just got to be handled however, whatever it takes for you to handle it and get over it. If there's any kind of spirit of competition, some people just have this attitude that they've got to go get what's theirs before the world goes and gets it. When the truth is there's abundance for everybody, but not everybody understands that. So they live in a spirit of competition, or they live in a, this kind of spirit of anger and resentment and unforgiveness or whatever it is. they always get stuck in the first three chakras. You may hear my kitty. I have a very loud cat over here. But they always get stuck in the first three chakras. And when it does, your own EMF is going to shrink, okay? And that means that vital information is not being sent throughout your body the way it needs to be. Your body is lacking vital information because your own EMF field is shrunk. But not only that, we pick up vital information from the surrounding field. Our bodies, every parts of us are picking up information from the field around us. So we might be emitting a weak signal and picking up weak information. And our EMF is bringing us that weak information. So, but understand, everything is surrounded by energy, and energy is information. Okay, think about this. When two atoms bond, they are surrounded by a field of energy. They bond due to information that's similar, but there's a field of energy and of light, biophotons. We haven't even gotten into biophotons yet. Biophotons are information as well, and they basically are the reason why you can be seen and I can be seen. Understand, we are 99.999999999% energy and information. That means we are just a very, not even a fraction of physical matter. So why can we be seen? Biophotons, living light that transfers information or energy back and forth. Okay, so you've got this field of energy and light that's surrounding those two atoms, and then they become molecules. Well, the molecules become surrounded by a field of energy and light. Those molecules become cells. Cells become organs. We see this all the time. Transplant patients. Why do you think that this happens to transplant patients all the time? Our organs and bodily systems have their own field of energy. I don't know if you've ever written the book A Change of Heart by Claire Sylvia. She was a 47-year-old dancer, professional dancer and choreographer. And she ended up in 1988 at 47 having to have a heart and lung transplant. The donor was an 18-year-old male who was killed in a motorcycle accident. Now, you already see where this is going, right? Okay, she began craving chicken nuggets, fries, beer, and for dessert, a Snickers bar. And that was not her normal food, not even close. But now all of a sudden she's craving these things on a regular basis, and she's eating fries, chicken nuggets, fries, and beer, and then a Snickers bar for dessert. She also developed a different personality. She became very assertive, sometimes a little bit rude. She also, according to her teenage daughter, she also started walking like a man. All right. Well, anyway, Claire Sylvia went and tracked down the donor's family, and turns out he loved chicken nuggets, fries, beer, and Snickers bars. Turns out he was a little bit assertive. Maybe took it a little too far from time to time. Things like that. Of course, he walked like a man. He was an 18-year-old motorcycle guy. But anyway, you see, she started taking on his personality. That field of energy and light was there. A lot of you know the story of the 8-year-old girl who got a heart transplant from a 10-year-old murder victim. Think about that story. Okay? The nightmares became so vivid that professionals knew this was not this girl's imagination. This girl knew information about the crime that only the police knew and had withheld from the public. She should not have known that information, but she did, because she was having the vision of being there. You can imagine the trauma of that when you're 8 years old. And then they eventually were able to locate the guy, get him, and he was convicted for the murder. All because of the dreams this 8-year-old girl was having, this field of light and energy attached to the heart of that little murder victim. I mean, imagine that, okay? We know this is true. We see it all the time. So we pick up information from the field. Uh, a weak signal means we're missing out on vital information. It also means that our field is basically eating itself just to stay alive. Then it becomes reduced to nothing. Well, then what happens? Illness and disease is what happens, okay? I mean, you probably know someone too. I know someone, not even in their 50s, and has severe health issues. This person also has a rotten attitude about a lot of things. Everything, this person's a victim, a perpetual martyr. Okay, everything is always someone else's fault, and you know, even this person's own current mood and emotion is always based on someone else's fault. I can never predict what kind of attitude this person's going to have when I get around this individual, because it's always based on what the last person did. I mean, literally, it's funny to talk about it, but I'm very serious, and it can be very nerve wracking sometimes dealing with people like that. But that's just where I've got to learn to take care of my energy field, keep it clear, keep it strong, keep it healthy, and realize, hey, it's all on this person. They can have all the negativity. I'm not taking on any of it, you know. But so it becomes nothing. And this person has severe health issues. This person has had 2 major surgeries in the last 9 years. I want to say 3, but let's just keep it at 2 because I can say 2 definitely. 2 major surgeries in the last 9 years. This person has been diagnosed with conditions that supposedly are going to stay with this person for life. Now, I firmly believe that if this individual would change their attitude, change their behavior, and completely turn it all around, they could undo those health conditions. But this person doesn't think that way. This person thinks more in terms of the physical world, where meditation and your EMF fields don't mean anything. So, there's nothing I can do. But we all know people like that. This individual is just a little younger than I am, and yet I haven't had near. First of all, I've never even had surgery. I'm 48. I've never had surgery. Uh, I don't have any major medical conditions. I mean, this person's younger than me, and you would swear they must be in their 60s, judging by the medical conditions they have already endured and endure at this moment right now. It's unreal. And we all know medical science is catching up, that your health determines your attitude. Your health is based on your attitude. Did I say your health determines your attitude? Your attitude determines your health. That's what I meant to say. Your health is determined by your attitude. Okay? Health is a result of a good, strong, positive attitude, a good, strong, positive EMF. All negative emotion, it always gets trapped. And when it does, it gets trapped in either the Muladhara, which is the chakra right there at the base of the spine, the Swadhisthana, which is right behind the sex organs, just above the Muladhara, or the Manipura, which is, again, along the spine, but just about where the navel is. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit what these chakras are, because some people may think, chakra, schmakra. Okay, they found the chakras. The chakras are real. They do exist. Now, understand that chakras are spiritual. They are spiritual in nature. They are a vortex of energy, and they're related to certain parts of the body, to certain organs, and to certain emotions. Okay, well, in the human body, they have discovered what is called a plexus. Every place where a chakra exists, there's a plexus in place. A plexus is a bundle of nerves. It's a bundle of nerves grouped together that then they branch out throughout the body. So Now we have 7 chakras. Now the top 2 are in the head, so let's not talk about those right now. But the bottom 5 exist along the spine. The ancients have always known this, and then they discovered that at each point where they say a chakra exists, there is a plexus at the exact same place, right along the spine, and it even controls the same bodily organs and systems that the ancients have said the chakras control. So at the Muladhara chakra, which is right at the base of the spine, right above the anus or perineum, okay, we have a plexus there. That plexus controls all the same organs that the Muladhara chakra was always said to control. Just above that, there's another plexus would be the Swadhisthana chakra. Okay, and then we have another one along the spine, right about where the belly button is, the Manipura chakra. We have another one. Of course, we also know that the brain is its own heart to begin with, that is completely independent and fully functioning. So I don't think anything else needs to be said there. But we also have one here along the spine at the base of the throat. Now, the one in the head, the Anya chakra, some people associate it with the pituitary gland. Some people associate it with the pineal gland. Some people say it's associated with both. I say, why can't we just go with that? It's associated with both, unless we find evidence to the contrary. And then we know that we have nerve endings throughout the skull and the top of our head, and that's where the Sahasrara chakra is. So that's the one that connects us to the divine, to our higher self. So the chakras exist on a spiritual plane, but their physical equivalent has been found. Just like you are not you, okay, because you are not the body. You are you, your spiritual self living in a body. It's the same way with the chakras. They are the spiritual equation of the physical, the plexus, okay? So we've got to intentionally get ourselves out of survival. We've got to get ourselves out of fear, out of guilt, out of shame, out of competition, out of resentment, into forgiveness. All of these things get caught in the first 3 chakras, and we have to cleanse those chakras. We have to unlock those first 3 chakras. Excuse me a moment. So then the question becomes, well, how do we unlock those bottom 3 chakras? And one of the best ways I know to do it is through asana. That's one of the greatest ways that I've been able to do it. In fact, when I first got out of treatment, and then I started going boys, and that was a big help to me in opening up those chakras. And so what I ended up doing is I did a lot of study and other things, understanding more about yoga, understanding more about asana, how it worked, and all those things, and how to put them together. I also ended up getting my yoga certification because I thought one of these days I might want to actually teach yoga classes. Now I'm trying to get a good light, and here we go. So I thought, I might want to someday teach some yoga classes, which I really didn't do and still don't do. But I got my yoga certification, and I started putting together routines for opening up the chakras. Some routines that were specific to certain chakras, and really just focusing on those bottom 3, maybe 4 chakras, working on the Muladhara, the Swadhisthana, Manipura, and then the Anahat to really get that energy flowing up to the higher centers. Then I put together some routines that worked on all the chakras, starting from the base all the way up to the top. So I had a couple of routines that just focused heavily on the bottom ones to really get those opened up. And then a couple of routines to focus on all of them to get them all to open up. And then I started working on some meditations. And that was probably the biggest challenge for me. I was working on some meditations, figuring out how to get my attention and energy focused in such a way that I could actually just break through those chakras and get let that energy just burst forth. But finally, I was able to do it. I was able to figure that out. So I got some asana routines that are devoted specifically for the chakras and getting those open, and I included those in my magnetic heart formula because I really think those are important. And now I've got some meditations included as well, actually two. One is devoted specifically on the bottom three because those were the toughest for me, and then focusing on all seven of them from bottom to top, really taking care of those chakras. And I was more into it with the asana, but then I realized that the meditation is probably where I show them the most love. So that's where I went with that. So, but those are some great ways to get the chakras opening up. Practice some asanas, especially asanas that work on the bottom three. Do some meditations that work on the chakras. Like I said, I've got all of that is included in the magnetic heart formula. That's part of the deal with learning how to progress, is learning how to handle those chakras so that you're giving out the right information, but you're also receiving the right information, and you're constantly building those EMF fields, not diminishing those things. So anyway, guys, that's all I've got for today. Listen, if you do want to do some personal coaching, get in touch with me. The best way to do it would be to get on my social media and send me a DM. But if you want to just send a comment down below, that would be fine too. But just let me know what I've got going on. Where'd I put them? I've got an offer of 4 coaching sessions. Now, these are 45 to 50 minutes each, okay? So 4 coaching sessions at $240. That's $60 a pop. And then I'm offering 6 coaching sessions at $350, which is just under $60 a pop, okay? So 4 coaching sessions for $240 or 6 of them for $350. Again, those are 45 to 50 minutes. And now that's cheap, but there's a string attached. The only string is that you give me an honest review when it's all said and done. I don't know if you see my cat back there or not, but she's distracting me. I see her trying to play. I want an honest review. I don't want you lying. I'm not going to insist that you give me a good review. I want you to tell me what you need to tell me, because I can't get better if you don't criticize me. So if there's something wrong and if something's not working, I can't fix it if I don't know it's broken. So please, all I ask is that you give me an honest review. That's it. So again, 4 for $240, 6 for $350, and an honest review, nothing more. Send me a DM on one of my social media websites. Guys, you guys have a great day. I love you guys, and I'll see you Monday. Don't forget our meditation.